Hello dear friends. Today we want to go into a laboratory and conduct 8 interesting experiments. I hope it will be both interesting and useful for you. We start the first experiment with a pine cone. We place it in a container and pour hot water over it. After 20 minutes, the pine cone completely closes. It has been cut in half so you can very clearly see what happens. Indeed, in this particular demonstration, as you observe, the hot water causes the ends of the cone to contract, making it completely close. When you take it out of the water and let it dry, it opens up again. It's interesting to know that these cones do the same thing when they are on the tree. When it gets warm, it opens up and drops its seeds on the ground. And when it gets cold, it contracts. It drops the seeds exactly when they are ready to germinate. That means the weather has warmed up. Number 2. Let's create an interesting decoration. When you pour these colored paper bits into the water and stir, they spread out, but quickly some float to the surface and some sink to the bottom. However, if you empty half of the water from the container and replace it with glycerin, the decoration becomes more interesting. Now when you shake it, they slowly descend as if it's snowing. It's the glycerin that does this, increasing the water's viscosity, allowing the colored paper bits to float for a longer time. If we take a few pencil shavings, put them in a mortar, crush them, and then add them to vegetable oil, we obtain a black substance. Next, we fill a glass with boiling water and place a plastic container on top of the boiling water. We pour the black substance into it. The heat from below that reaches the plastic container causes the pencil shavings to undergo interesting reactions that are quite fascinating to watch. For example, here in the larger container, you can observe from the side. But when it cools down, the pencil shavings settle at the bottom. However, if the boiling water underneath remains hot and stays hot, these reactions continue. Scientists say the reaction of these materials is exactly like the reactions happening on the sun. It heats from below, and reactions are seen on the surface. However, don't get it wrong. The surface of the sun is not made of these materials. It is mostly composed of hydrogen. Their reaction area is similar. Now we want to go into another experiment to see how do submarines move up and down in the water. For the experiment about what happens in submarines, we bring a plastic bottle and make several holes in it like this. We also make a hole in its cap. We pass a hose through it. And we place a small balloon at the end. And we don't let it float, so it goes nicely to the bottom of the water. Plastic in the middle, and stick it very securely over one of the holes we made in the bottle. We also very gently and precisely connect a pump to the hose with the balloon at the ends, so we can very precisely inflate and deflate the balloon with it. Now this is like a submarine. When we place it on the water, it floats, because the balloon is currently filled with air. But when we reduce the air in the balloon, it goes down. We inflate it again, it comes back up. This is the same system that exists on submarines. That means they have a compartment that they fill with water to make the submarine go down. And when they want the submarine to come up, they push the water out and replace it with air. exactly like this below. Let's do an experiment with a Coca-Cola can. First, we sand the paint off the can to remove it. Then we open it and place it in the container like this. And we pour hydrochloric acid into the container. You know, it's one of the strongest acids. This acid starts to eat away at the aluminum. The aluminum dissolves in the acid, but the plastic layer inside the can remains intact and holds the soda. Look at how resistant plastic is, to the extent that acid doesn't affect it. That's why they say don't throw your plastics in nature, because they don't decompose quickly. Now we want to test how much sugar is in a Coca-Cola. We open a Coca-Cola and pour it into a pan. In another pan we pour Diet Coca-Cola. We boil them. The regular Coca-Cola evaporates its water, leaving the syrup behind. But not much is left from the Diet Coca-Cola. But this doesn't mean that Diet Coca-Cola is healthy and the other is bad. Because regular Coke has sugar, but Diet Coca-Cola contains artificial sweeteners, which might even be more harmful. In the final experiment, let's make a simple and basic electric motor. We wrap some copper wire around a battery and shape it like this, winding it a bit so that the loop remains. We strip the ends of the wire to establish a connection. We stick a battery to the ground with some clay. We place 2 paper clips like this on the ends of the battery. We put a magnet in the middle and attach what we made to the 2 paper clips. The electricity and the magnet start to spin it. Here we have made a very simple electric motor, which can be considered a basic electric motor.